All right, let's dive in. We got this interesting podcast sent in MedExpert TV, Happy Relationships, with these two Nigerian dentists, Dr. Ada and Dr. Kundli.
Oh, interesting.
And, I was glancing through it, and I think it's going to be a pretty cool look at the connection between taking care of our mouths and, get this, our relationships.
Oh, really? Oral health affecting relationships, huh? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. But, as I was reading through their conversation, it really hit me that we often kind of forget about oral health when we think about our overall well-being.
Yeah, that's true. We're always talking about, physical health and mental health, but our mouths, not so much.
Right. Exactly. But as we'll see from these doctors, it actually goes way beyond just, avoiding cavities and stuff.
Okay, well, I'm all ears. What do they have to say?
Well, one of the first things that jumped out at me was how Dr. Ada and Dr. Conley really emphasized that just brushing your teeth isn't enough. They were really strong advocates for flossing.
Yeah, flossing is important, isn't it?
They would say it's key because it gets into those spaces between our teeth where the toothbrush bristles can't really reach, to get rid of all that food and plaque that builds up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's where a lot of problems start, right? Like bad breath and gum disease.
Absolutely. And Dr. Ada was talking about how if you don't floss, it's like you're only cleaning half your teeth. Makes you think, right?
It does. It does. I've been pretty good about flossing lately, but I know there were times when I'd get a little lazy with it.
Me too. But these doctors made a really compelling case for why it's so important. They were also really big on brushing for a full 2 minutes, not just a quick scrub.
2 minutes, huh?
Yeah, 2 minutes. And they even said we should be brushing our tongues too to get rid of those bad breath bacteria.
Oh, the tongue. Right. I always forget about that part.
It's easy to overlook, right?
Good save.
But it's all part of taking care of our whole mouth.
I mean, all those little habits really add up, don't they?
They really do.
Yeah.
And you know what else I found interesting? They talked about how when we take the time to care for our mouths, it's like a reflection of self-respect.
Oh, I like that.
It's like we're saying to ourselves, hey, I'm worth taking care of.
Makes sense. Like, if you care about yourself, you'll take the time to do those things, even if they seem small.
Exactly. And that can then boost our confidence, how we feel about ourselves.
And that confidence can then kind of spill over into how we interact with others, right?
Exactly. And speaking of confidence, Dr. Ada was saying that having a bright smile can actually make us more approachable,
A bright smile. Really?
Yeah. She was saying it's like a signal to other people that we're friendly and open.
That's interesting. Like a visual cue.
Exactly. And on the other hand, remember how Dr. Kunle was talking about how awkward it can be to talk to someone with, well, bad breath.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It can be so distracting.
Totally. Not that you want to be rude or anything, but it's hard to focus on what someone's saying when.
Yeah, you're kind of holding your breath the whole time.
Right, exactly. But when someone has fresh breath, it just makes the whole interaction more pleasant.
Definitely. So we've got brushing, flossing, but what about the food we eat?
Ah, yes, the fuel for our bodies. And our teeth, I suppose.
Both Dr. Ada and Dr. Kunle agreed that sugar is the biggest enemy when it comes to tooth decay.
Sugar, huh? Not surprising, really, is it?
Not really. It feeds those bacteria in our mouths, especially this one called Streptococcus mutans, which produce acids that eat away at our enamel,
And that leads to cavities. Ugh, cavities are the worst.
I know, right? But before we swear off all sweets forever, Dr. Ada said that we can still enjoy them in moderation. Just be sure to rinse with water afterwards.
Ah, rinsing. Good tip.
It helps wash away some of those sugary residues and keeps those acids from hanging around on your teeth.
Good to know. Good to know. So less sugar, more rinsing. What else did they recommend?
Well, this is where it gets kind of fun. Dr. Kunle had this great tip about crunchy foods like apples, carrots, cucumbers. They actually act as natural toothbrushes.
Natural toothbrushes, huh?
Yeah, so when you munch on them, their fibrous texture helps to scrub away plaque and stuff.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So like snacking for cleaner teeth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reaching for an apple instead of that bag of chips can actually be a good thing for your smile.
Okay, I'm definitely going to remember that one. Apples over chips. Got it.
But while we're on the topic of cleaning, I have to admit, I was kind of surprised by what Dr. Ada had to say about toothbrushes themselves.
Really? What was that?
Turns out, using a hard bristled toothbrush isn't actually good for our gums.
Oh, really? I always thought the harder the bristles, the better the clean.
Me too. But she was saying that soft bristles are much gentler and help protect those delicate tissues.
No sense, I guess. You don't want to be scrubbing away at your gums.
Right. And we all know we need to replace our toothbrush every 3 months, right?
Yeah, of course. Old toothbrush, lots of bacteria.
Exactly. And it just makes sense to have a fresh one,
So it seems like all these little habits, like how we brush, what kind of toothbrush we use, even what we snack on, can really make a difference.
They really can. And you know what I'm realizing? It's not just about avoiding those trips to the dentist. It's about something bigger.
Yeah, like what?
It's like when we take care of our mouths, it's kind of a reflection of how we take care of ourselves overall,
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. It's a way of showing ourselves that we matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can have a ripple effect on our confidence, our relationships, our whole outlook on life.
It's all connected, huh?
It really is.
Yeah.
And that actually leads us to something else I found really interesting in this podcast. The link between a healthy smile and how others perceive us.
Oh, interesting. I can't wait to hear about that.
It's funny, as we were talking about these like everyday things, brushing, flossing, it hit me. It's not just about, going through the motions.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's almost like there's a deeper thing going on here, like a mindset.
I think you're right. It's like a commitment to taking care of ourselves, even the little stuff.
And that can make a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Like we were saying, just taking a few minutes to, brush and floss, it's like showing ourselves some respect.
Yeah, for sure. It's like saying, hey, I'm worth it. I deserve to take care of myself.
And that can really boost your confidence.
It can. If you feel good about yourself on the inside, it'll show on the outside.
You radiate a different energy. Right?
Exactly. And remember how Dr. Ada was talking about how a bright smile can make you more approachable? Well, I think there's even more to it than that.
What do you mean?
It's not just about the looks. A smile that comes from a place of, genuine self-confidence, that's powerful, that's magnetic.
Yeah, it draws people in.
It does. People are naturally attracted to those who are confident and comfortable with themselves.
So it's like a positive feedback loop. The better we take care of ourselves, the better we feel, the more confident we are, and the more positive our interactions with others become.
Right. It's all connected.
So good oral hygiene can actually lead to better relationships.
Well, I think it definitely plays a part. Remember how Dr. Kuhnle talked about how distracting bad breath can be? It's not about being, judgmental or anything. But on some level, we're all kind of programmed to pick up on those cues.
Like it's our senses giving us information about the person we're with.
Exactly. Fresh breath, healthy smile, those are signs of vitality and well-being. And those qualities make people, more attractive, not just romantically, but in general.
It's funny how something we might think of as purely physical, the state of our teeth and gums, can actually have a pretty big impact on our social interactions.
It really is. And it shows just how interconnected all these different parts of ourselves are. Our physical health, our emotional state, our social lives. You can't really separate them.
So it seems like the doctors focused on romantic relationships, but I think what they were saying applies to all kinds of relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about a job interview, for instance. A confident smile can totally change how you come across to a potential employer.
Right. Like you're saying, it projects this image of someone who's composed and capable and approachable all at the same time.
Exactly. It can really help make a strong first impression, which, as we all know, can make a huge difference in any professional setting.
So what we're learning here is that taking care of our mouths isn't just about avoiding cavities or having fresh breath. It's really about investing in our relationships, our careers, our overall well-being.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that, our health is holistic. All these different parts of us, they influence each other. And even something as seemingly small as taking good care of our oral health, that can create this kind of ripple effect of positive changes in all these areas of our lives.
A ripple effect. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the brushing, flossing, the psychology of a smile, but there's another key element we haven't touched on yet, and that's diet.
Ah, yes, diet.
Yeah.
What we put into our bodies, it plays a huge role in our overall health, including our oral health.
And Dr. Leda and Dr. Kuhnle had some really interesting things to say about the connection between what we eat and our smiles. So let's dive into that. So we're back, and we've been talking about this fascinating link between oral health and, well, just about everything else, haven't we?
It really is amazing how it all ties together, right?
It is. We've covered brushing and flossing, talked about the power of a smile, and now we're going to dig into what Dr. Ada and Dr. Kuhnle had to say about diet.
Ah, yes, the fuel that keeps us going, and as it turns out, can have a big impact on those pearly whites, too.
Exactly, and they didn't hold back when it came to naming the biggest culprit for messing with our oral health. Sugar.
Oh, sugar. Always the bad guy, isn't it?
It seems to be. But, I mean, there's a reason for it, right? It's not just some arbitrary rule.
Right, there's a whole science behind it. Basically, the bacteria in our mouths, especially this one called Streptococcus mutans, they just love sugar.
They thrive on it, don't they? And that's where the problems start.
Yeah, those bacteria, they go to town on the sugar we eat, and then they produce acids as a byproduct.
And those acids are what attack our tooth enamel, leading to, you guessed it, cavities.
Ugh, cavities. The bane of my existence. I swear I'm always getting those darn things.
Well, maybe we should be taking those from Dr. Ada then, because she had some really good advice on this.
Lay it on me. How do we keep those sugar-loving bacteria from wreaking havoc in our mouths?
Well, it's not all doom and gloom, thankfully. She said the key is moderation, like with most things in life.
Okay, moderation. Makes sense. So we don't have to give up sweets altogether.
Nope, we can still enjoy those sweet treats, but we just got to be smart about it.
Smart about it. Okay, what does that look like exactly?
Well, Dr. Ada suggested a pretty simple strategy: rinsing with water after we eat or drink something sugary.
Rinsing. Simple but effective, right?
Exactly. It helps wash away some of that leftover sugar and reduces the amount of time those acids are sitting on our teeth.
Makes sense. So less sugar, more rinsing. But is there anything we can eat that actually, helps our teeth?
Actually, there is. Remember how Dr. Kundley talked about crunchy foods acting as natural toothbrushes?
Oh, yeah. Apples, carrots, cucumbers, those are the ones, right?
Those are the ones. Their texture helps scrub away plaque, so they're great for keeping things clean.
So it's like built-in flossing with every bite.
Exactly. And Dr. Ada had another surprising food that's good for our teeth. Cheese!
Wait, cheese? Seriously?
I know, right? But apparently it's full of calcium and phosphate, which help remineralize our enamel.
Oh, so it actually helps strengthen our teeth?
It does. It's like a little shield against those acid attacks.
Wow, I never knew that. So next time I indulge in a piece of cheesecake, I'll chase it with some cheddar.
Exactly. Balance is key, right?
Yeah.
Enjoying all kinds of foods, but being mindful of how they impact our oral health.
It really all comes back to that idea of interconnectedness we've been talking about, doesn't it?
It does. It's like this big aha moment, realizing that taking care of our mouths is about so much more than just fresh breath and avoiding cavities.
It's about taking care of our whole selves, isn't it? Physically, emotionally, even socially.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key things we should all take away from this?
Well, I think it's clear that brushing and flossing regularly is a must. We can't skip those.
And those regular dentist visits for checkups and cleanings, super important too.
Definitely. Prevention is always better than cure, as they say.
And when it comes to what we eat, well, we don't have to say goodbye to sweets forever, but being mindful of our sugar intake and maybe swapping out some of those chips for crunchy snacks and cheese, that can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is this. Caring for our oral health is a form of self-care.
Yes. It's about honoring our bodies, showing ourselves that we matter.
And that simple act can have a ripple effect, leading to more confidence, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of well-being overall.
So well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. A big thank you to all of you for listening and for sending in this amazing podcast. We hope you've learned a thing or two and maybe even feel inspired to take your own oral health journey to the next level.
Absolutely. Because a healthy smile is a reflection of a healthy life, and that's definitely something worth smiling about.
Until next time, everyone, happy brushing and flossing.